Welcome to Jet Ski Space. In this video, we're playing Satisfactory and we're going to look at planning. But if you're new to the game, my advice is just to have fun. Don't worry about planning anything and embrace the spaghetti. Once you've played for a while though, you might start dreaming of bigger things, mega factories, efficiency, design. And to take on projects like that, a little planning goes a long way. So I thought I'd use the planning process for my next playthrough as an example of something you could do. I really like the idea and challenge of bringing resources to one area and building everything there. Aluminium production, which is tier 7, makes that quite difficult though. So I've decided to restrict my planning to everything before that. I started by using the official Satisfactory Wiki. It's a great resource. Here, I found the most complex part I would have to produce in tiers 1 to 6 by looking at the Milestones page. And then saw that a single manufacturer makes one modular engine per minute. So, how many manufacturers should I build? How many modular engines do I want to make? Well, modular engines are used to make thermal propulsion rockets. And to make one rocket per minute requires 2.5 modular engines. What then are thermal propulsion rockets used for? The answer to that is found on the Space Elevator page of the wiki, where we can see that 1,000 rockets are needed to complete the final phase of project assembly and earn the Employee of the Planet cup. Knowing this, I know that if I used only a single manufacturer to make modular engines, it would take me 41 hours to produce 1,000 thermal propulsion rockets. Quite a long time. So after all that, my plan begins with a decision to make one rocket per minute. Which means I'll need 2.5 manufacturers producing modular engines. These numbers are powerful because they'll inform what and how many resource nodes I'll need. That, in turn, allows me to know how much space I'll require for my resource bus as well as how many buildings to expect when choosing a place for my factory's construction. My next step was to put on some music and using the wiki and LibreOffice Draw, a free Visio alternative, I created this monstrosity. Allow me to show off some highlights and explain what this thing is. I worked backwards from my decision to produce one thermal propulsion rocket per minute. M1 is shorthand for the fact that a manufacturer makes one rocket per minute. And times 1 here tells me how many, in this case, manufacturers I want to have making rockets. Under modular engine, I've noted that 2.5 are required per rocket manufacturer and I've abbreviated thermal propulsion rocket to TPR. This lets me work out that I'll need to make 2.5 modular engines in order to make one rocket per minute. And so, using the wiki, down the chain I went. In the yellow box, we can see that 2 motors are required to make a modular engine. And since I want to make 2.5, I'll need to be making 5 in total. Here, A stands for assembler. And the reason I've increased the amount of assemblers from 4 to 5 is because I want some spare motors. By looking at the wiki, I've been able to determine which items I'll need in my container yard for easy access. And it's these boxes I've highlighted yellow. Amongst other things, I'll need motors in order to build manufacturers. Planning can be boring, but this next bit is quite insightful. And compared to the potentially hundreds of hours it takes to create a mega factory, this is sure to save some pain later. I was surprised to see just how many circuit boards I'd need. 41 assemblers worth. And this meant that I'd need to be pumping out 89 constructors worth of copper sheets. Meaning, I'd need 1,780 copper ore per minute. Also when planning, don't forget to keep in mind the throughput of belts. Because my plan is for tiers 1 to 6, I'll only have Mark IV belts available to me. That means, for copper sheets alone, I'm going to need 4 pure copper mines. Another big number was the 94 refineries I'd need producing plastic. I'll talk more about this setup when I build it. But note that nearly 3,000 crude oil is needed. That's 5 pure nodes using fully overclocked extractors and only once I've unlocked Mark II pipelines. And just before we get to the beginning of this chain, I noticed the need for a whopping 113 constructors making screws. Which means another 125 constructors making iron rods. And there we have it. We now have an idea of what this project, this, somewhat, mega factory, is going to need in terms of parts. But what about ore? Just how many resource nodes will I have to tap? The answer to that looks like this. 11 pure iron nodes, 6 pure and 1 impure copper node, etc. for a total of 30 resource nodes required to feed the beast that will be my Satisfactory this playthrough. Hopefully, you can see that the official Satisfactory wiki is a useful resource. In my next video, I'll conclude my planning process by demonstrating another useful website. And with it, I will plan where I'm going to find the many resources I need now that I know exactly the nodes required. If you'd like more content like this video and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and yes, I am a robot and this is Jetski Space.